to come to you, the Taoiseach saying, look, this is a real communication issue and I'm taking responsibility for that, but we need to debunk some of the myths out there. There are strict, robust controls in place. It is not a soft touch. We have tight borders here in Ireland. Do you agree with him?
He's talking nonsense. If you look back 25 years, if you look at EU countries with a population in excess of 1 million, Ireland's population has grown by 40%. That is more than double the next EU state. So we have experienced and are experiencing huge population growth. The government seems unaware of this. The government's housing plans are for 30,000 a year. We need 60,000 a year, according to Professor Ronan Lyons. But we get this self-congratulatory talk the whole time. We are a soft touch. The Ukrainian refugees who are here are supposedly fleeing for fear of their life. We're letting them go home for Christmas. What are we, what...
But I think what the Taoiseach has said, we've let people go home for short periods of time. That is not the same as saying somebody go back, live, work, function in that country and feel safe. It's not the same.
It undermines the very basis that we have let them in, that their lives are in danger. And then, by the way...
Cormac, I've been to Ukraine.
Yeah, so...
I have seen the homes where these people have been bombed out of. And I think your comments are quite frankly wide of the mark. To suggest somehow that we're letting them go home. Do you think we should tie them here? If they still have elderly parents back there who are taking a risk because they have decided to remain on, they've let their kids have left, they've come here to try and give a better life to their children. In many cases, their husbands are on the front line. And if a woman and her 2 children want to go back to be with her parents, you know what, I think that's a humane approach. And quite frankly, anything else would not be living up to our responsibilities in any shape or form.
Okay,
sorry, we have had recent polls where nearly 50% of people say they're afraid to say what they think about immigration for fear of being shouted down. These people are here on the basis that their lives are in danger. Now we're acting like we're some boarding school and you go home for Christmas and we'll see you in early January.
I'm not sure.
By the way, then, when we do say you can come back, you've got to come back a day after the Eastern Christmas. So we're not even factoring in the fact that Ukraine is a divided society. There's maybe a third of people there who feel ethnically Russian, and they have a different church with a different Christmas, and we're bringing a deadline that's very tight on them, but generous for the West.
Point, Cormac, that the Taoiseach made, that we have allowed the conversation around immigration to be about Ukraine and international protection, and that's actually not where the conversation should be. There are loads of positive stories of migration. You talk about a 40% increase in our population. Are you reflecting those stories in your comments there?
The vast majority of immigrants into Ireland since in this century, 69%, are Irish people coming home, EU citizens or UK citizens. So nobody has a problem with that. My problem is with immigration. So what's the difference,
just to be clear?
The difference is there is a systematic abuse of the asylum system across Europe. This is a quote from the former head of the German Constitutional Court. Many people come to our country, Germany, from all parts of the world for clearly non-asylum reasons. The right to asylum is being misused and in many cases applied for improperly. And
that's one person's opinion.
No, that's the head of the German Supreme Court, retired. Take the governor, take President Macron of France.
Okay.
We cannot welcome all the misery in the world.
Okay.
But that's the
let me just let
the vast majority of them. Making them think about
respond to that.
This is, look at the European context. Europe is, just in the last 24 hours, at EU level, they've agreed to tighten up all of the rules. So this is a huge problem across Europe. But in Ireland, we have a government which is fixated on blame game politics, on public communications, rather than fixing problems.
Yeah,
that was the first story we led on. And anybody who voices problems with immigration is sort of obliquely tarred with the far-right brush. Our population has grown enormously. Our resources to cope with that population in housing, health, education have not grown anything like at the same pace. And rather than deal with these problems, they're swept under the far-right carpet.
Okay, so is your issue then with lack of resources, is your issue actually with housing? Is that actually where your commentary should be focused on, not with immigration?
Yes, housing is a central failure of this government. And the government doesn't even face up to this in terms of its ambition, in terms of the number of houses we need to build each year.
OK, I suppose I'm just trying to drill down. If there were a sufficient amount of houses, would you not have the same concerns about immigration?
No.
So it's housing is your concern, isn't it?
Housing is my major concern. This is bringing the bottle to overflowing.
OK, just to